Welcome back to the AR-15 barrel series. Today, we're looking at a barrel from Seekins Precision. This is the second Seekins barrel that I've done a video on. Feel free to check out the first video if you haven't seen it yet. But the short story is that this is the replacement barrel that I received from Seekins after I sent the first barrel back for warranty service. Twice. Before we get started, a quick thank you to Danger Space LLC for providing me with the original barrel from Seekins. We'll get started by going over the specs. The barrel is 16 inches, made from 416R stainless steel, with a 223 Wylde chamber, 1:8 twist, mid-length gas, .750-inch gas block journal, half by 28 threads, a dimple for the gas block set screw, and the exterior of the barrel is Cerakoted black. Moving on to the inspection, we'll start with the weight. And the barrel weighs a little over 2 pounds. And if we look at the pounds per inch of barrel length, this barrel looks to be slightly on the heavier side for a midweight barrel. Next, we'll do some gauging, starting with the throat erosion gauge. And this barrel is at a 1 on this gauge, which is what I would expect from a new barrel. This is a 223 Wylde chamber dimensions gauge, which is important for barrel function and ammunition compatibility. And the bolt is able to lock in place, meaning that the chamber is at least minimum size. Next, we'll check the headspace with a new stripped JP bolt and Forster headspace gauges, starting with a minimum headspace gauge. And the bolt spins, meaning that the barrel has at least minimum headspace. So we'll move on to a minimum plus 3 thousandths headspace gauge. And the bolt does not spin, meaning that the headspace is less than 3 thousandths over minimum and well within the serviceable headspace range. I pin gauged the gas port on this barrel at 93 thousandths. And if we compare that to the other 16-inch mid-length barrels, the gas port on the Seekins is absolutely massive. I shot this barrel with an A5-4 buffer, and it didn't really slow down the bolt carrier velocity at all, and actually made recoil worse, since there was more reciprocating mass that was still going at warp speed. This barrel absolutely needs to be paired with an adjustable gas block. Moving on to some external dimensions, the gas block journal diameter was slightly smaller than average, meaning that the gap between the gas block journal and the gas block will be larger, which will make gas block installation easier, but may make it a bit more difficult to get a good gas seal with the gas block. The barrel extension diameter was larger than average, which will reduce the clearance between the barrel extension and the upper receiver, which should make for a more secure fit when mounting the barrel. Next, we'll take a look at the inside of the barrel with my test-long Borescope, starting with the body of the chamber. And there's not a whole lot to look at here. There's some tool marks, but that's not too uncommon to see in AR-15 barrels. Here's a quick spin around the neck of the chamber. And again, everything looks fine. Nothing looks to be significantly out of place. Here is the throat. The start of the rifling looks to be pretty even. Everything looks to be nice and smooth without any burrs or anything of concern. Here's another look at the throat after shooting the groups and cleaning it, and there doesn't look like there was a whole lot of change compared to when it was brand new. Here's a look at the rifling when the barrel was new. You can see some tool marks in there. It looks like the barrel has been lapped, which softened up the tool marks a bit, but they are still pretty obvious. The left edge of one of the rifling lands looks to be a bit more rough than the others, which I don't think will be a huge deal, but it just caught my eye. Here is the rifling after shooting the groups, while it was still dirty. You can see the carbon and copper fouling in there. And here's another look at the rifling after cleaning it up a little bit. Moving on, here is the gas port, which looks good. No burrs. And everything looks as it should. And here's the gas port again after firing. Last, here's a look at the crown. And again, everything looks good. Nothing looks to be out of place. Next up, we'll go over the shooting setup. Seekins Precision does not list a barrel break-in procedure that I could find, so no barrel break-in was performed. The barrel was mounted in a Colt upper receiver with a bolt carrier group from Classified Defense and an Expo Arms handguard. The barrel nut was torqued to the manufacturer's specifications. To increase rifle stability, the handguard was fitted with a 3-inch front bag rider, and the stock was supported by a rear bag. The SBR lower uses an A5 buffer system with an A5-4 buffer and Sprint Coat green spring. No muzzle device was used to prevent possible interference. The 2-stage trigger was provided by AR Gold. Scope is a 6-36 by 56mm that was provided by Vector Optics. A Garmin Zero C1 Pro chronograph was used to collect velocity data. A Mantis X10 Elite and a Shooter's Global SG Pulse were mounted to the rifle to keep track of rifle stability and detect any possible shooter-induced flyers. Groups were measured using the Ballistic X app. Each group is 30 shots fired consecutively over about 4 minutes. This simulates a match or other practical type scenario where the barrel will get some heat into it, and also gives us a decent sample size to work with. Between each group, I used a chamber chiller and leaf blower for cooldown. Distance was 100 yards. Wind was monitored with a ribbon. Point of aim was a small circle at the bottom of the target. Point of impact was set a few inches higher to preserve the aiming point. I'll be shooting 3 groups with this barrel. First will be Federal Gold Medal 77 grain Series Match King, then IMI Razor Core 77 grain, and last is PMC X-Tech 62 grain M855. Alright, first we have with the Seekins is with Federal Gold Medal 77 grain SMKs. As I alluded to earlier, the gas port on this barrel is absurd. I'm using an A5-4 buffer, which is the heaviest buffer that I have, and the bolt carrier is still running super fast and ejecting brass forward. For an AR-15, the shooting experience with this barrel was awful, and it absolutely needs to be paired with an adjustable gas block. Anyway, the group ended up being pretty decent. Wind was pretty minimal, the Garmin captured velocity on every shot, and the Mantis only missed 1 shot. So, we will finish up and then take a closer look. Here is my velocity chart for the Federal Gold Medal. This chart includes the barrel specs, round count on the barrel at the time of the group, ammo lot numbers, ambient temperature, and the velocity metrics. And here's a chart with just the average muzzle velocities from 16-inch barrels. Velocity out of the Seekins was 2,433 feet per second, which is on the slower side of what I've seen from this load out of 16-inch barrels. Velocity standard deviation was just a hair higher than average for Federal at 22 feet per second, and looking at the individual velocities, shot 23 was the slowest of the group at 43 feet per second slower than average, and shot 1 was the fastest at 54 feet per second higher than average. Rifle stability looked fine with an average score of 99.7 and the least stable shot at 99.3, which means that I don't feel like I pulled any of the shots. Looking at the group, it looks pretty evenly distributed without anything significantly out of place. Before we go over the group numbers, I'll briefly explain my A-ZED score, which is how I like to evaluate groups. A-ZED stands for A Zone Equivalence Distance, and it basically gives you the maximum distance where the corrected group size would still fit into a USPSA A-Zone. I like to use this score because it makes it easier for me to understand the practical implications of the group. If you want to know more about the A-ZED, feel free to pause and read the PowerPoint slides. 30-shot group size was 1.795 MOA, with a main radius of 0.443 MOA, which gives us an A-ZED score of 319 yards. Or, if you want some more conventional numbers to look at, if we take the 30-shot group and break it down into 3 10-shot groups, the average 10-shot group size was 1.4 MOA. Here is my leaderboard chart for Federal Gold Medal. This has all the groups that I've shot with this ammo, along with the barrel specs, lot numbers, and group metrics. Keep in mind that not everything is perfectly consistent between the different groups, but I'm doing the best I can with the time and budget that I have to work with. Anyway, the Seekins is tied in 9th place, with the Borescope Purebred on this leaderboard. So it would have been nice to see this barrel do a little bit better, but it's not too bad. Next up, we'll see what it can do with the IMI Razor Core. Alright, we'll see how things go with the Razor Core. This ammo usually shoots a little bit worse than the Federal, but the velocity is quite a bit faster. And speaking of velocity, the bolt carrier velocity continued to be quite high. Federal Gold Medal recoils a bit less, but this IMI load recoils a bit heavier, and the shooting experience continued to be quite unpleasant. But anyway, the shooting went good on my end. I don't feel like I pulled any of the shots. Wind was pretty calm. Ejection was interesting. The Garmin captured velocities on every shot, and the Mantis only missed 1 shot. So, we will finish up the group and then take a closer look. Here is the velocity chart for the IMI Razor Core 77 grain. And here's my graph with just 16-inch barrels. Average muzzle velocity out of the 16-inch Seekins was 2,616 feet per second. And again, like the Federal Gold Medal, this is a bit slower compared to the other 16-inch barrels that I've shot with this ammo. Velocity standard deviation was okay at 22 feet per second with an ES of 86 feet per second. Both the individual velocity and rifle stability numbers look fine. And looking at the group, it shot out a little donut hole, which makes it look a little bit more impressive than it is, but this is still a good group for IMI Razor Core. 30-shot group size was 1.924 MOA, with a 30-shot mean radius of 0.514 MOA, which gives us an A-ZED score of 275 yards. Average 10-shot group size was 1.4 MOA. And here's my leaderboard chart for IMI Razor Core. I am not a perfect shooter, so all of these groups could probably be at least a little bit better, but this is what I got. Out of the 28 groups that I've shot with this ammo, the Seekins is in 4th place. So looking pretty good with this load. Next up, we'll see how it does with the cheap stuff. Alright, last group out of the Seekins will be with PMC X-Tech M855. I don't use this ammo thinking that it's going to produce the best group, but most of my ARs end up shooting a lot of cheap ammo since I don't have the budget to only shoot Mark 262 or whatever other expensive ammo is out there. Also, it makes for a good comparison to see what different tiers of ammo gets you. Anyway, shooting went good again on my end. Wind was calm. The Garmin captured velocities on all the shots, but the Mantis missed quite a few shots on this one. But we end up with a pretty good looking group for M855. So we will finish up and then take a closer look. Here's a quick look at the velocity chart for PMC M855. And here are the velocities for 16-inch barrels. Again, the Seekins was pretty slow compared to the other barrels, with an average muzzle velocity of 2,861 feet per second. Velocity SD was pretty decent, at 21 feet per second, with an extreme spread of 102 feet per second. Shot 11 was particularly fast, at 63 feet per second faster than average, but other than that, nothing else looked out of place. Looking at the group, there were a few strays outside the main cluster, but it mostly looks pretty good. 30-shot group size was 2.313 MOA, with a 30-shot mean radius of 0.596 MOA, which gives us an A-ZED score of 237 yards. If we break things down into 10-shot groups, the second 10-shot group, shots 11 to 20, actually formed a sub-MOA 10-shot group. So I got a little lucky there, and thought that was pretty funny. But this is one of the reasons why I shoot 30-shot groups, and not just groups with 10. Anyway, average 10-shot group size was 1.8 MOA. Here is the leaderboard chart. And of course, keep in mind that this is all with a limited sample size, so if I were to get another barrel from the same manufacturer, it might perform better or worse than what you see here. Out of the 16 groups with this ammo, the Seekins is at the top of the board in first place by a pretty decent amount. If you'd like to see the results from some other barrels that I haven't had on YouTube yet, you can check out my Patreon. I just posted the results from a BCM 16-inch SS416 factory complete upper, where I shot one group with the barrel in the original BCM heat fit upper, and another group with a regular non-heat fit receiver. Link is in the description if you want to swing by and check that out. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Later.